Journalists and reporters often have to interview psychopaths and serial killers, which is very disturbing. Furthermore, these interviews reveal the true intentions that ultimately assist them in getting their proper conviction sentence. So, do you want to know about these extremely disturbing interviews with psychopaths? If so, watch this video till the end and subscribe for more. Here we begin. Number 4. Geraldo Rivera fruitlessly strives to glean coherence out of Charles Manson. To some, Charles Manson is that person who chilled with the Beach Boys and composed some oddly moving love songs. And to others, he's the bad shit, insane cult leader who instructed his drugged-up supporters to murder a pregnant woman so it would begin a great culture war because he speculated that's what the Beatles implied with Helter Skelter. You will find that there have been several interesting interviews with San Quentin's most famous long-term resident, which is the gold criterion for Manson's media misadventures. That has to be that time Geraldo Rivera sat down with that insane cult leader back in 1988. Things begin honestly enough, with Manson expressing his intention to murder 15 million people and asserting that Hitler was attempting to bring order into the world. Still, it's not long before Chucky Boy starts getting relatively hostile, at one point begging the interviewer how he would want if he hopped over there and won against the dog shit out of him. After that, Manson gets on a long talking about how much he dislikes Susan Atkins, his affection for Bing Crosby, his subjective stabbing technique, and he claimed that he cuts a little, but has never squeezed in it, and why marijuana should be valid and how his brutal exploits in the 60s came to this conclusion to reanimate Jesus. Number 3. A man who outfitted like a clown and murdered children puts up. The worst I'm innocent petition of all time goes to that man who killed people when he was just 14 years old. After 13 years of being condemned for massacring 33 young men and concealing their molding bodies in the crawl space of his Chicago residence, John Wayne Gacy sat down with a reporter named Walter Jacobson for an incredibly rare interview. His objective? Well, he wished to let the whole world realize that he was framed in a weak endeavor to garner himself a new prosecution before his date with a lethal injection needle. Gacy continued to spit out one golly whopper of a falsehood after the other, asserting among other brass-balled mistruths that he had suffered 5 hours of truth serum-assisted lie detector tests. Moreover, he didn't understand physically avenging his disobedient kids. Needless to say, Gacy never received that retrial, and in 1994, he was killed by the state of Illinois, but never the charming guilty kind. His apparent final words were the heartfelt, totally thoughtful refrain, "Kiss my ass." Number 2. Co-ed killer understands police only discovered the body he understood he got rid of on camera. If you compare the psychopath to the rest of the heavy hitters on this schedule, Stephen McDaniel is certainly a lightweight. Let's discuss what he did. He broke into a girl's house while he was wearing a mask and suffocated her to demise. McDaniel, who then hacked up his victim's body like some terrible 1980s horror movie villain, was so confident that he had executed the absolute crime that he had no reluctance about being interviewed by a regional TV camera crew. Yes, he's not guilty of killing, and he was even chill when he admitted his crime and revealing everything to the camera. It looks like he is a calm psychopath. Number 1. Eileen Wuornos verifies that women can be almost as homicidally insane as their counterparts. Eileen Wuornos, the famous Florida prostitute who shot and assassinated 7 men over 2 years. A very disturbing thing happened just after the interview, which was recorded hours before she obtained a lethal injection in 2002. In the interview, it was seen that Wuornos wastes no time at all before her eyeballs start swelling out of her skull, and she begins contending that she has been a topic of supersonic weaponry suffering since the late 1990s. Then she explains that the prison was deliberately providing her food, poisoning, and helicopters were hunting her before she was imprisoned for her line of murder. Then she says she can't procrastinate to die because she will be beamed up in a Star Trek manner to investigate the cosmos, and that she feels sorry for the interviewers because they're all getting nuked by a comet in 2019. As the interviewer comments, it's difficult not to be taken aback by Wuornos' behavior, particularly since she was declared mentally able to kill just a day earlier. So that's all for today. What do you think about these interviews with psychopaths? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe and smash the bell icon to get more uploads like this. Take care and see you soon.